Hello, welcome to Manga Comic TV. Today we're going to be running a gauntlet, and stepping into the gauntlet, we have Madara Uchiha, often considered the ghost of the Uchiha, and Hashirama Senju, often considered a god among ninja, versus the starting lineup from the golden years of the Leaf Village. Now this starting lineup consists of the three legendary Sannin, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade. The white thing of the leaf, Sakamo Hatake, often considered to be stronger than all three of the Sannin combined in their younger years. You have his son, Kakashi Hatake, aka the Sixth Hokage and the Copy Ninja. You have Obito Uchiha, who was basically unkillable up into Naruto Shippuden. You have Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, and technically the only ninja with flee on sight orders. That's global flee on sight orders. You have Itachi Uchiha, the one and only that murdered his own clan single-handedly. You have Shisui Uchiha of the Body Flicker, who was Itachi's best friend and mentor. You have Fugaku Uchiha, who was head of the Uchiha clan and the Konoha military police force. You have Asuma Sarutobi, who was definitely something. I mean, this dude was definitely not nothing. Last but not least, you have Mike Guy, who's not just a master taijutsu user, he's probably the strongest taijutsu user of all time. Now, first, we're going to look at Madara Uchiha to answer the question, who is Madara? Well, Madara is one of the most powerful shinobi in history, and he's often recognized as the strongest Uchiha ever produced, even decades after his death, and he's even considered to be the strongest when he was revived with the Edo Tensei technique. Imagine you died only to be revived decades later by a forbidden jutsu, and you're still considered the strongest ninja to walk the earth. I would have a fucking chip on my shoulder. Now, most people remember Madara for his battle against the Shinobi Alliance as, imagine you're reincarnated and you're such a badass that ninja from every major village come together and put together a big-ass Shinobi Alliance to come stop you, and Madara just completely solos all of these motherfuckers. At one point, Madara manifests his Susanoo, which is a massive construct exclusive to Uchiha, which is capable of destroying mountains and causing massive destruction. It took the entire cooperation of the Shinobi Alliance just to stop his Susanoo. So what does Madara do? Well, he just pulls down a fucking comet from space and drops it on the Shinobi Alliance. And when they stopped that first comet, he just pulled down a second, even bigger comet, forcing everybody to retreat or be absolutely fucking decimated.
This nigga is crazy.
Furthermore, all Uchiha possess ocular jutsu known as Sharingan eyes. Now, Madara was one of the first to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan and eventually the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, which allows him to perform these insane feats. But not just that, later he would go on to unlock a Rinnegan, boosting his power to godlike levels. Now, in order to unlock the Rinnegan, he would combine his cells with the cells of his longtime rival, Hashirama, as they're both descendants of the sons of the Sage of the Six Paths, and by combining their cells together, he was essentially able to recreate the chakra of the Sage of the Six Paths. Now, the thing about the Rinnegan is, he wouldn't have it due to the fact that Hashirama is still alive in this photo, which brings us to our next ninja, who is Hashirama. Now, Hashirama is a member and the leader of the famed Senju clan. He's the first Hokage, and he's considered a god among shinobi. Not only is Hashirama considered to be godlike, but he's also known for his wood style, which is able to suppress tailed beasts. Now, what are tailed beasts? Well, tailed beasts are 9 titanic sentient creatures that possess massive power in the Naruto universe. These things are so powerful that they might as well be considered godlike in their own right. Furthermore, he's the longtime rival to Madara Uchiha, and Madara truly was never able to really beat this dude once. Hashirama would eventually go on to achieve sagehood, and his wood release was so potent that Hashirama's wood clones could change form and merge with organic matter. His wood release Laughing Buddha Jutsu was strong enough to restrain the Nine Tails, which is considered to be the strongest of the tailed beasts. His wood release Deep Forest Bloom could manifest a forest of flowering trees that all produced a thick pollen, and enemies that inhaled the fumes would be rendered unconscious instantly. Dude could summon a wooden golem that matches the size and the strength of the nine-tailed fox. With his sage art, he could summon gracious deity gates that could immobilize any target without issue. Then on top of all that, one of his most infamous techniques is he's able to manifest this big-ass statue called the Thousand Armed Cannon, which is capable of hitting you simultaneously while the user is still mobile. This dude was so overpowered that Madara Uchiha had to steal his cells in order to boost his own power and thus achieve godhood, as he wouldn't have been able to unlock the Rinnegan any other way. But the thing about fucking Hashirama is he didn't need the Rinnegan. He didn't have any real ocular jutsu on the level of Madara. He was just a badass within his own right. Now, let's take a look at the Golden Generation starting lineup. And listen, I'm going to try to speed through this a little because there's a lot of these motherfuckers. Now, first up, we have Orochimaru from the Hidden Leaf. Now, Orochimaru is often considered an antagonist, but it cannot be denied that he's also considered one of the strongest ninjas to ever exist. When Orochimaru and the rest of the Sannin took part in the Great Shinobi War, Orochimaru was one of the only shinobi who could compete against a prime Hanzo of the Salamander. Orochimaru was often known for his body manipulation, as he could shed his skin and regenerate just like a snake. He can also transfer his soul into new bodies, thus granting him immortality. He's often known for his summoning techniques, as he's been able to summon giant serpents to fight in his stead, and he's also been able to summon the Rashomon gates that were almost capable of stopping a tailed beast bomb. Orochimaru was often lauded for his high level of intelligence, as he was one of the original prodigies of the Leaf Village. Orochimaru has several superhuman physical characteristics, but the cherry on top of all that is this motherfucker is also a master at hand-to-hand and melee combat. Next up, you have Jiraiya, which is another one of the legendary Sannin. Now, Jiraiya was considered to be an exceptionally powerful ninja in his day and one of the greatest ninjas of his generation. Jiraiya is also known for his massive chakra reserves and being able to summon powerful creatures like Gamabonta, who was basically a big-ass toad ninja. Jiraiya's chakra was so potent that he eventually achieved sagehood, and he was able to use Senjutsu, which is basically sage jutsu. His giant flame bombs were so potent, they rivaled that of Itachi Uchiha's flame release. His earth style could manifest big-ass large swamps that were so gigantic they can engulf large snakes. In a pinch, he could weaponize his hair, turning it into a cloak of needles. With his Toad Mountain trap technique, he could basically swallow you and you would end up in the belly of the mountain toad. Then on top of that, he could use his pupils technique, the Rasengan, which was basically a densely packed ball with chakras spinning at high velocity inside, known for sending its opponents flying. For the last of the legendary Sannin, you have Tsunade. Now, Tsunade is Hashirama's little granddaughter, and she was so strong she could shatter buildings just by punching them. Tsunade is so strong that if Tsunade punches you, you're basically dead. But what she was really known for was her medical ninjutsu. Her chakra transfer technique created a network that could be used to heal or increase the potency of one's jutsu. Her body pathway derangement uses electricity to scramble neural pathways. She was lauded throughout the world for her mystic palm jutsu that could heal a ninja that was pretty much almost on death's door. Her chakra enhancement technique amped her strength to inhuman levels, and no shinobi alive is said to ever have been able to match that. She could also summon a giant slug named Katsuyu that was capable of manifesting herself into several smaller beings and creating a healing network and reviving down ninja. Next up, you have Sakamo Hatake. Now, Sakamo is known as the White Fang of the Leaf, and he's lauded for his many victories in the Shinobi Wars. Now, little is known about Sakamo Hatake, as he died before they really had a chance to expand on him, but what is known is he's stated to be as strong as all of the Sannin in their younger years, are as strong as the Sannin, if not stronger. Either way, the dude is an absolute nightmare to deal with. Now, one person we do know more about is his son, Kakashi Hatake, aka the Copy Ninja, aka the Sixth Hokage. Now, Kakashi is known as the Copy Ninja for his use of the Sharingan, because although he's not an Uchiha, he received one Sharingan eye from his childhood friend Obito. With that Sharingan, Kakashi is said to have copied over 1,000 different jutsu, earning him the moniker the Copy Ninja. Kakashi was also known to be able to use the Rasengan as well as the Chidori, which he named the Lightning Blade. He's also no slouch when it comes to Genjutsu, as his prowess with his Sharingan eye has put him on par with a lot of legendary Uchiha. Now, for the uninitiated, that's like, what the fuck is a Genjutsu? Well, a Genjutsu is a powerful illusion. Imagine an illusion powerful enough that it makes you live out your entire life in 1 second. And by that time, even though your body is still young, your mind is broken and inside you're mentally old and feeble. Or imagine somebody could make you experience such a horrific hallucination that you simply cut your own throat. Like the sky is the limit when it comes to a powerful genjutsu user. He's also unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan, which grants him the use of a powerful ability known as Kamui. Now, what is Kamui? Well, Kamui allows the user to warp anything within a short range through another dimension. Imagine I throw a knife at you, but before you can even dodge it, you get stabbed in the back because I warped that shit through another dimension with my eyes type shit. Anyway, after gaining both Mangekyo Sharingan, Kakashi was also able to manifest a Susanoo. But you know what? We're not going to get into that because considering the fact that Obito is still alive, he would only have one Sharingan. Next up, we have Obito Uchiha, the one who gave Kakashi that Sharingan eye. Now, Obito in his younger years was considered a clown. He was basically the opposite of Kakashi, and he ended up dying during the Shinobi War, or at least he was believed to be dead. But Obito would come back as a central antagonist, also known as Tobi or the Masked Man. Now, for a while, Obito was thought to be Madara Uchiha, and he was basically considered to be unkillable as you couldn't hit him with any techniques without him phasing right through it. Basically, Obito was the original user of Kamui, and what he was doing is whenever you would attack him, he would phase his body to another dimension, causing you to phase right through him and letting him follow up with a counterattack that was often lethal. Obito Uchiha is actually insane, and he was basically considered to be unkillable into the very end of Naruto Shippuden, to where Kakashi had to use his Kamui to counteract Obito's Kamui. Otherwise, he basically was unkillable. You basically needed another Kamui user in order to fight this dude. Next up, we have Minato Namikaze, also known as the Yellow Flash of the Leaf, also known as the fourth Hokage of the Konoha village. This dude was renowned for his speed and his variety of techniques that he had within his arsenal. When this kid was only 9 years old, he was already soloing three-man teams of high-level ninja. Now, unofficially, all Uchiha have flee on sight orders, as it's explicitly stated you should never fight in Uchiha one-on-one. But officially, the only ninja in the Naruto universe with global flee on sight orders is Minato Namikaze. Now, the nine-tailed fox was considered to be the strongest of the tailed beasts, but Minato's 8 trigram sealing style completely sealed the beast inside his son Naruto. Minato is the inventor of the Rasengan, and he modeled it to be like a tailed beast bomb in your palm. Minato did not create the Flying Raijin, but he perfected it, as the Flying Raijin is a space-time class jutsu that allows the user to teleport to anywhere bearing the technique formula. So basically, if you were marked by Minato's Flying Raijin jutsu, it was an absolute death sentence. Furthermore, he would go on to master the Uzumaki's greatest sealing technique, the Reaper Death Seal, that allows the user to summon a Shinigami of death using their soul as a medium. If you saw Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash of the Leaf, it doesn't matter how strong you thought you were or how many people you had with you, you had global flee on sight orders. That's how much of a badass Minato was. Next up, you have Fugaku Uchiha. Now, although it's not explicitly stated how strong Fugaku was, he is considered to be an extremely strong Uchiha. Proof of how strong he is stems from the fact that he didn't just have a regular Sharingan, he had a Mangekyo Sharingan. Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan was exceptionally strong, as it gave him the ability of future premonition, granting him the ability to get short glimpses into potential future scenarios. During the Third Shinobi War, it said that shinobi from other nations would tremble at the mention of Fugaku's nickname, the Wicked-Eyed Fugaku. Now, although Fugaku doesn't have a ton of feats, he's generally considered to be signing level at the very least. But next up, we have Fugaku's son, Itachi Uchiha. And listen, I know there's going to be some people that get pissed off about this statement, but Itachi is one of the strongest Uchihas of all time. Itachi was so strong and so skilled that when he was just like 12 years old or some shit, he became leader of the Leaf Village's Anbu Black Ops unit. Now, by the time we catch up with Itachi, he's already an international criminal as he slaughtered the entire Uchiha clan in the Leaf Village. Now, why did he do this? Well, as it turns out, the Uchiha clan was planning an uprising in the Leaf Village. And so Itachi was so loyal to the village that under the orders of Danzo, Itachi slaughtered the entire Uchiha clan. But he didn't kill his little brother, and he told Danzo if he ever laid a finger on Sasuke, he would kill him. He was so loyal that the entire time he let everybody believe he was the villain, when in reality, he was probably the most loyal to the Leaf Village. Now, Itachi's abilities are kind of insane because when dealing with Itachi, you never know if it's him or a crow clone that is just going to manifest into a bunch of crows once destroyed. He's also been shown to literally just be able to turn into crows using an advanced form of genjutsu. If you decide to use genjutsu on him, he has this mirror heaven and earth technique that could literally just reverse the effects of your genjutsu. His genjutsu is so potent that he has this Tsukuyomi technique that can make you live out your entire life in 1 second, or can shackle you and torture you while this goes on for what seems like a lifetime. In reality, only a minute or a few seconds have actually passed. His fire style is so potent that he can manifest these black flames called Amaterasu that can't be put out. Itachi can manifest a giant Susanoo just like other powerful Uchiha users. His Susanoo has these Yasuke beads that he can turn into a giant swirling shuriken. His Susanoo is considered to be invincible because it wields the Totsuka blade, which can seal anything it pierces, and not just that, it also possesses the Yata mirror, which can block any attack. And I don't think you guys understand how strong the Totsuka blade is. The Totsuka blade is a spiritual weapon. Like, you could be fucking Goku and destroy the fuck out of the Naruto universe, but if you get hit by the fucking Totsuka blade, you're going to get sealed. The blade emerges out of a giant sake jar enchanted with sealing jutsu. Itachi is absolutely insane, and he'll never get the credit he truly deserves. Now, Itachi Uchiha's best friend was Shisui Uchiha, also known as Shisui of the Body Flicker. Shisui was another very skilled Uchiha who was actually considered a prodigy, and then on top of that, he was extremely loyal as he served as a spy for the third Hokage. Now, Shisui was another shinobi where a lot of ninja would flee before they even see him, but that was not because he had flee on sight orders. That was because his genjutsu was so potent that before you even got close, he could incapacitate all members of your squad. Now, Shisui's power was so potent that he was also said to be able to manifest a Susanoo. Shisui's genjutsu was so powerful that he was known for his Koto Amatsukami, which was his signature technique, as it cast a very powerful yet subtle mind control over the target. When Shisui got wind that the Uchihas were planning a coup, he was planning to use his Koto Amatsukami to quell the uprising, but he would never get the chance as he was confronted by Danzo and his goons who were after his Sharingan eyes. Danzo would get his hands on one of Shisui's eyes, but luckily Shisui managed to escape. Shisui would give his other eye to Itachi, and then he would kill himself, not wanting any more fighting to arise over his Sharingans. Now, Shisui is considered to be incredibly powerful, although he's probably not on the level of Itachi as he just didn't live that long. Next up, you have Asuma Sarutobi. Now, Asuma is considered to be a pretty strong Jonin from the Leaf Village and one of the relatives to the third Hokage. Asuma is known for his fire style jutsu as well as using chakra infused blades. Asuma is a strong Jonin who can kill several Chunin level ninja with little effort, but if the ninja have a slightly higher skill level than that, Asuma is really not one of those guys. Now, Asuma Sarutobi can hang, but he's one of those ninjas that really kind of shine in a group setting. Last but most certainly not least, you have Might Guy from the Hidden Leaf Village. Now, the way the ninja hierarchy goes is you have Genin, which are beginners, you have Chunin, which are anywhere from intermediates to experts, and then you have Jonin, which are considered to be some of the best, and only the Jonin or the Sanin can become Hokage. Now, although Might Guy is just a Jonin, he's also a Taijutsu master, and he's probably one of the strongest ninja in the Leaf Village. Now, what is Taijutsu? Well, Taijutsu is strictly hand-to-hand, so if you don't have any ninjutsu or any genjutsu, You better be the best fucking taijutsu user there ever was, and Might Guy does not disappoint. Now, Might Guy has summons as he can summon a giant turtle, which was strong, but he rarely ever used this ability. Now, Might Guy's Leaf Whirlwind is probably one of his go-to maneuvers as he engages the enemy with a series of high and low kicks, which focuses on catching the enemy off guard and quickly overwhelming them with quick successive strikes. Might Guy's punches were so fast that using friction, he was able to set an enemy on fire. Might Guy is also an 8 gates ninja, so when he lit that opponent on fire, he did it by opening the 5th gate and unleashing a barrage of punches called Morning Peacock. Now during the Great Shinobi War arc, after Madara had already beat the shit out of the Shinobi Alliance and had already absorbed the power of all the tailed beasts and become the 10-tailed Jinchuriki, and he was basically just a god at this point, Madara would be immune to all genjutsu and ninjutsu, so the only way you could combat him was by using taijutsu. Keep in mind, this is God Madara right now, Madara of the 6 paths, yet the only person who could combat him was Might Guy. Guy would open the 7th gate and he would attack Madara with Daytime Tiger, and he would end up dealing a devastating blow, but the strain on his body was so much that he almost incapacitated himself. Now, with that attack having failed, Guy still has the option of opening the 8th gate, but when you open the 8th gate, it's essentially a death sentence. But Guy is willing to do anything to protect his friends, so Guy would puncture his heart and open that 8th gate. He would then attack Madara with Evening Elephant, but the strain on his body is so much that he's forced to stop after the first step. Guy, knowing he only has a limited amount of time, would restart his attack and would hit Madara with all 5 steps of Evening Elephant. Now, normally that would have killed any ninja in the ninja universe, but considering the fact that Madara is basically amped right now and he's basically a god of the 6 paths, Madara manages to recover from this attack. Guy hits him with additional Evening Elephants that do deal a little bit of damage, but Madara keeps coming. Now, having run all out of options, Guy is forced to use Night Guy. Now, what is Night Guy? Well, Night Guy is a forbidden taijutsu only accessible when all 8 gates are open. The 8 inner gates, blood red aura, then transforms into the shape of a dragon, which envelops the user as they dash towards the target. Guy would kick Madara in the chest using Night Guy, and this absolutely obliterated part of Madara's body. And keep in mind, this dude is basically a god right now, yet this kick just obliterated part of this dude's torso. Unfortunately, Madara did manage to recover, but had this been base Madara, he would have been dead. Like if it's the Madara you're looking at in this picture, there's no shot. He would have been absolutely zeroed. To be honest, he probably wouldn't even had to open the 8 inner gates on this guy, but maybe because Madara still is a hard night out. Now, the question we're here to answer is, who wins between Hashirama and Madara versus the Golden Age starting lineup from the Leaf Village? Now, look, obviously, I'm taking the Golden Age starting lineup at the top. And listen, there's some people that will make lazy ass arguments like, oh, Madara took out the entire Shinobi Alliance and Hashirama took out that ninja. And a lot of that did happen, but look, that's base Madara right there. That's most likely just EMS Madara. It's impossible for him to have the Rinnegan due to the fact that Hashirama is still alive, and so he doesn't have the Hashirama cell. And then Hashirama is basically a shinobi god, so you would think the odds fall in their favor. When you look at the picture up top, the 3 Sannin alone are going to be a handful for just one of these ninja. But then when you factor in the White Fang, who's said to be as strong as the Sannin, it's really not looking good. Then when you factor in the Wicked-Eyed Fugaku, it's looking a lot worse for Hashirama and Madara. Then you have Obito and Kakashi, which using their Sharingan and their Kamui ability, they can teleport almost any object to another dimension. So technically Kakashi and Obito could make Madara and Hashirama fight on a battlefield of their choice. Then you have Minato Namikaze, who has global flee on sight orders. But the thing that's going to beat Hashirama and Madara is just the fact that he's a master tactician. Then the fact that he has several more shinobi at his disposal in order to implement whatever tactics he decides tips the odds even more in their favor. Then you have Shisui, whose Konoha Matsukami ability could potentially turn Hashirama and Madara against each other, further tipping the odds in their favor. And I know people are going to hate this argument, but then you have Itachi, which not only is he one of the most skilled Mangekyo Sharingan Uchihas, but his Susanoo is generally considered to be invincible. The Yatamira can repel any attack, and if you get hit with the Totsuka blade just one time, you're sealed. And then there's Might Guy, who had basically one-tapped Madara, and this is after Madara had been amped by all the power of every single tailed beast, and he was basically a six paths god. He got